Hey, welcome back again to the Hustle Guy YouTube channel. Back with part three of my story, Awaken Me, which has a musical tape coming out to it this summer. It's 2018, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you plug into my website and register so that we can keep you up to date with that. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on my videos, and so you can stay up to date with what all I got going on, and so that you can help be a part of the conversation and help me help more people realize their purpose of becoming a powerful creator. So, part three, I'm gonna get back to where I brought the doctor the results, um, and they scheduled. They didn't. I got in with the results. They said they would see me 2 hours later. I wasn't seen. They rescheduled me 2 weeks later. This is September 5th. My hearing is November 8th. I get called early that morning from them saying that I can't be seen. They didn't get my images because I'm an X-ray tech. I tell them I know what I got to do. All I got to do is go down there, get a copy of my images. I'll have them by the time of my appointment. So I go and I do that. I get there by the time of my appointment. I sit there for a couple of hours, and they tell me that they can't see me. They reschedule me. They tell me that my doctor had an emergency of some sort. They reschedule me. I complained to the doctor at this point twice. The first time, just telling her that I wasn't able to walk, I wasn't able to move, and at this point I wasn't able to really eat, which was been a while. Eat, use the bathroom normally, sleep, talk normally. Just my life was hard, and that I wanted my life back. That I really missed my life. That I was really young, and that I had already had 10 years stolen from me. That I really needed this thing looked into so that I can move forward and get my life back. And this was the second time I went to her complain. At this point, I didn't feel like my complaints were being taken serious. So I asked to see her boss, or asked to complain to her boss on her. When I got home that day, I got a call to come back for another appointment. And this appointment that would be a plan of care. So I get to this appointment, which was probably about a week later, and I go in with all of my degrees and my badges from work because they told me that I had made up all of my degrees and my badges, and that was a part of why my mental illness, why I was seeking attention. It was all a part of with my mental illness. And so I brought all that stuff in, and they kind of threw it to the side, didn't want to see it. And so she started to tell me the findings again from the results and her plan of care, which was to send me to a GI and psychiatrist. And then I asked at that point, was that all? No neurologist, because I had gotten the results that showed that I had the extruded disc, and the results suggested that I needed an actual back MRI because that was just the abdomen MRI. She said no, she wouldn't go any further. I told her that I had been scoped from the rooter to the tutor by GI, that I wasn't interested in going back, that I believe that the things that I had been going through correlated with nerve damage, nerve problems, and that should be looked at further. She said that my ultimatum was to take it or leave it. I decided to leave it. I walked out of her office. I had to wait a whole month at that point to go to the next doctor that I had tried to go to before I went there. Because of the way the insurance works, you have to wait a month to enroll into a new doctor. So October, I got an appointment with the beginning of October. First time the PA, Omar Staples, sees me come in there. I'm struggling, can't walk, can barely talk, really weak. I give him the MRI. He instantly sends me for an MRI workup. I get the MRI results back. It shows that I have extruded disc at C6, C7, L4, L5, L5S1. Um, um, L1, L2, L5, S1. It showed that I had a significant nerve damage. It showed that I had disc desiccation and degenerative disc disease. I brought that went back to my doctor. He instantly filled out all of my paperwork for disability. This was about 2 weeks before my disability hearing. I get this stuff back to my lawyer. I have my hearing. At the hearing, I get a bench decision, a fully favorable bench decision, which was eventually retracted to. I applied in 2014. They only went back to 2016, which I still got the decision. Uh, which I later found out that took so long that I didn't even receive the actual decision till 6 months later because they asked the judge to decide if she really wanted to uphold her decision. She decided to uphold her decision. I won my Social Security and disability hearing. So at that point, I kind of started to relax a little bit and kind of start focus more back on like getting my life together. And I had gotten an apartment um, through the CalWorks program here in my county. I had gotten a program through the homeless assistance program through them. The lady here was so sympathetic to my situation that she let me move in before the program was able to even pay for to fund my move in. So she let me move in. At that point, I started working on getting better. That is when I made a decision to start taking that become a powerful creator like to a higher platform. And I started doing the talks. I started giving the lectures downtown Oakland in my city. I rented out a space, and first I charged, and then after that I didn't charge, and I decided that I record them and put them on YouTube so that way I could get them out further. After I went and recorded the first one, I decided that was just me waking people up to their purpose. Like there was a whole process to this, and then I had to realize what that process was. And so at that point, I came out with the process of discover your purpose, align with your purpose, confirm with your purpose, affirm your purpose, and live in your purpose. And I made each PowerPoint like basically from how I experienced that part of me aligning with my purpose, which was at that point was to get this message out to people. And in order for me to get that message out to people, there was so much that had to happen. I had to get well. I had to win that disability hearing. I had to get a house. I had to be able to do my therapy. I had to have the funds to do my therapy. I had to be in get in a mental clarity, gain mental clarity. I had to do so much just to get to that level. And so I was started giving the presentations and basically once a month. And I think one month I skipped January, and that was the month I decided that I would go full force and working on like my recovery. And I had gotten all my life in order finally. And I think I had did like the third. I had gotten up to the third part of the series, and wanted to finish the last two parts and kind of get it done. Now I started working, getting better. So end of February was the day that I gave the presentation for the last part of the presentation, Living Your Purpose. And at that point, I had just started to live and walk in my purpose. I had just had so many things that just started coming together and started lining up, that I started to understand that was where I was supposed to take it to. So I got to that point, and I had started working on the mixtape Awaken Me at the same time when I came out with the first Become a Powerful Creator presentation. And I wanted this musical tape because I didn't really want to be like known as a rapper or music artist or something like that. Even though I had the record label and I worked with music, I just didn't want to really be known for it as that part of it. So, but I wanted to tell my story, and I wanted to tell it to people that didn't read books and that didn't, well, at the time it wasn't a book, but that didn't go on YouTube. And that if I did put it in a CD form, because I had put it in a CD and audio form for people who didn't use YouTube, for people who just wasn't interested people who wanted to listen to it with music, because music like gets to people and it lets them internalize what's being spoken about and relate to it and just deal with it and just be more attentive. So I said, okay. So I came up with the name of the musical tape, Awaken Me. I came up with the name of all the songs at that time. A couple of them changed. A few songs were added. Eventually, I wrote the first song of that time, Death to the Ego, and that's on my YouTube channel still. I posted that, and it wasn't until I finished up the last presentation, it wasn't until around, I think, until I finished my disability hearing that I started writing the rest of the songs and trying to get those recorded to where I could see how they sounded. And February I finished the last presentation. It was at that time I said, okay, if I'm gonna do music, and at that point people were laughing at me, kind of like, oh, this girl thinks she's gonna write a book, she thinks she's gonna make a musical tape, she thinks she's gonna complete this presentation series, she thinks she's gonna be able to promote it to the world. And so it was like, okay, so my goal is to show people now that I'm living in my purpose. My goal is to manifest all of these things that I said that I would do, to bring those into fruition, but also to bring it to a way that people see that it's bigger than what they expected, not larger than life. I don't have any big expectations for it, but anything that is successful is what's bigger than what they expected for me. And so at that point, I decided to hit up my publicist, and we talked. And as we talked, so many ideas started coming to my head, and some fake record label kind of reached out to me and hired me as a fake A&R, and had me start doing some reviews. And it just made me start. It just opened me up and started having me looking into things. And they kind of doubted me. I felt like they were doubting me and questioning me, and so it made me want to like show that I did have this ability to make this bigger than what they expected. And so I hit up my publicist and we talked things out, and he made me realize that it was way bigger than what I expected and why it was. And so I decided, like, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and have faith, even though at this point I hadn't got my decision for sure, for certain yet, that I would start building. And I got tax money back because I had worked the year before. And I said that I had lost my housing right after I had moved in. I lost my housing like beginning of the new year. And so I was already almost in danger of losing my place. And so I had just got out of fight or survival mode. And I knew that in order for me to get all the way out, I would have to get verification that this money was coming. But I would still have to be walking and living in my purpose and just trusting everything that I believed at the same time. And so I filed my taxes, and by the grace of God, got enough money back to pay the rent up a few months, the rent at least until the month that I was there, and had some things coming up where I could at least get the money for another month. Uh, and worst come to worst, find a program at that time that would keep me going for a couple of more months until I got the decision, got my money, paid up a couple of more months until I was able to secure housing because of my disability. So I had a plan for the plan just in case the original plan didn't go through. And at this time, I'm still doing everything, making my mixtape, and I decided to go to Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. This was the last of my little money, and it was like, if I'm going to push this thing, I'm going to have to get out there. And this is a way to see if I'm ready to go out there. It's a test. I'm not really obligated to do anything major. And so me and my publicist set up and got decided to get all of this stuff ready to go out there. And nothing, I paid all this money, got all this stuff. Nothing was ready by the time I got out there. But, the money goes into something else eventually later. And so nothing was ready. And I was like, okay, it was a good, maybe, okay, everything wasn't ready. So I still went ahead and went on and went. It was like, I don't know how everything's going to work out, but I have a feeling it's all going to work out. So I get there. When I get there, my hotel room is sold because the city is sold out. So they're selling people's hotel rooms. Excuse me for the ice. They're selling people's hotel rooms who haven't checked in yet. So I hadn't checked in yet. So I sold my hotel room. I didn't have a room. I still kept the faith. I just was like, I'm going to stay positive, and everything's still going to go how it's supposed to go. My publicist met me down there. He said things could work out together. Hey, my kid's just walking in. Things could work out, and I could probably stay with a family of his. And I was like, hey, I could pay them. I'm paying the room, tons of money. I could pay them. Had my rental car. Things were progressing, so I had the place looking for me a room. Never found the room. At this point, I lost my debit card with most of my money on it. I had booked the rental car for some way. It had booked on both of my cards. I still said, I'm going to keep pushing through. I'm going to stay positive. And I did. And that day, we decided to go to the hood. And we drove to the first Motel 6 in the hood. And the lady there was really nice. And she said someone didn't reserve, stayed in their room. And I had a room. So I had a room till Friday. And I had to check out of that room eventually. But that room worked until things loosened up in the city. And so I went out and through that trip made a lot of good contacts, met good people, and came home without getting sick during the trip. Even though I lost my car, I was able to have people send me a little bit of money just at the end of my trip, just to make sure I was able to get my luggage back and get gas to check in the rental car. I was able to get the rental car place to agree to fix whatever they had to fix with the cards. They were holding my money anyway, even though they couldn't cash it out at that moment. So I got home on my way home. I had a late missed my flight because I got late to one place. Was supposed to not supposed to be able to switch flights, but the person was so nice, and I was starting to get a little sick at this point. They switched my flight without any cost, and I was able to get home earlier that morning. I got home, and things. I just saw that things were supposed to keep going, and that was the beginning of me realizing that I had to get everything finished up. Sorry, in November after I won my hearing, I decided to write the book. The book came from the. I started to research how to write a book, and my kind of made up a target audience, which is kind of everybody, but there's niches in the audience that I can hit, and different niches that I want to hit, and so it's kind of a umbrella of target audiences that I kind of am hitting from different angles. So I decided to make a short book, and um, so I decided that I should base the book off of my presentation. So I made the chapters off of that, and then I kind of made an intro based off of how I figured that I experienced multidimensionality as I was experiencing conceptualized thoughts and was able to interpret those things. And those things were almost like visions and like movies, I would say, playing in my head, and how I was able to like um, articulate those things and get it out into words and just to get it down. And that's where Instagram actually became very useful, because I was able to look back onto those things and say wow. And that kind of gave me the, the whatever you call it, the what am I trying to say? I can't even think of the word here, but it's the feeling is that I could do it. You feel me? That I could do it. The feeling that I could do it. It gave me the feeling that I could do it, and so that's what made me start going on with it. So I'm writing a book, and things are moving along with the book. I get back, I'm like, I gotta finish the book. I gotta finish the mixtape because I gotta get out here on the road, and I gotta push this stuff. And so I started working on it, and that's kind of where I am right now. I just finished up the mixtape, which is kind of what I call writing, and so and producing it now. Well, now I'm going to be producing it, where I recorded it, but I'm going to go through and listen to it, make sure it's perfect. I'm on at the last chapter of the manuscript of the book. Um, my kids are here. We're healthy. We're happy. At the last month, my housing coordinator called me and told me out of all the people on her list, she had to choose 5 people that because they had a new program coming up for housing that would pay up for another 2 years, so that would reach until my disability came through, and then I could get a secure housing through my disability. That she had chose me because she had saw how I had taken and worked hard to keep my place, when a lot of people would have taken that money and done something else, or just wouldn't have tried to figure out a way to do it. That she respected the way that I had done that, and so she wanted to help me maintain that the best way she could. So she got me into the program that furthered me along. Finally here today, my disability has I finally got the paperwork for it to get approved. I had got approved for at-home care in November as well. My oldest son is here, and his girlfriend. They've been helping me. It's improved my life so much, which is why I've been able to accomplish so much more during the day. But I still like to run my own errands because I want to be independent. So they kind of help me with my therapy and like keeping up the house where I can keep things going. So that's been a big help. I've been getting support from different people, resources from different people that have been keeping me going. Um, uh, um, just a lot of things that um, are coming to be. I started my physical therapy February. I started seeing my neurologist. Finally figured out which nerves are damaged from the legs down. You know that I have radiculopathy, and so I can't stand or sit long or anything like that because my legs kind of go numb and they just give out. And so that's how I kind of started getting better once I got the diagnosis. I'm a kinesiologist with a pre-physical therapy major. So once I did get the diagnosis in the MRI telling me about the damage to my spine, I started like doing my own therapy, working on my spine until I started the physical therapy. And now that I started the physical therapy, I'm doing basically what the physical therapist has me doing, and I'm continuing it and building on that and kind of keeping what I was already doing in conjunction with like my biological therapy that I have to do to keep my system like kind of in balance because of the problem with my bowel still, because I still have the damaged nerves, although they're healing. I have seen the OBGYN again about the fibroids, finally following up with that. I'm actually in the process of getting scheduled to have surgery to have those removed. Those caused like amenorrhea that caused my body to shut down really bad. So I'm really looking forward to to the relief of pain from that, and being able to work out a little bit more, and getting my breath back so I can breathe a little bit better. And to record my mixtape, my book hopefully will be coming out this fall, hopefully around August, October. I'm almost done with the first part of the manuscript, but you know you have to proofread, rewrite, edit, stuff like that. Book cover's almost coming out. I'll probably have that here for you guys on YouTube real soon. Um, I'm just trying to close it down here, get it all closed up here. Just learned a lot, been growing a lot, and been just trying to show everything with my awakening, and showing people that you can create your own reality. And when I had this dream, I was sick. I didn't have any money, and I didn't even know if I would ever win my hearing. But I pushed through, and I believed, and I followed my intuition at every fork in the road. I chose the choice that felt right to me. I always talk about living a righteous life is what got me here. Well, living a righteous life for me was always doing what felt right in my heart. When I was broke and homeless and no one would let me come sleep in their house, I didn't go do things that didn't feel right in my heart to have a place to live. I didn't sell my body. I didn't go sell drugs. I didn't go steal money. I didn't steal food. I didn't do anything that didn't feel right in my heart. I always did follow what was right in my heart. And from the beginning, I did that. And that was what brought me to the point of even being able to start doing my therapy for myself at the point when my son said that he would watch me die. I had already started doing what was right in my heart, and I continue to do that, and that is what I continue to do. And I believe that that is the most beneficial